Hey everybody, hope you're having a good week. A couple of things with this 3DS. I'm going to show you how to do a circle pad replacement on here. The circle pad on here wasn't in great shape when I bought it, so I did replace it already, but I'm going to kind of show you how it goes. Also, upon doing that, I did make the mistake of tearing one of the L or R button ribbon cables. They're very flimsy, and if you're not careful like me, you will end up tearing one. So I'm going to show you how to replace that as well. If you notice here, I've got tape on here to compress these buttons. There is a spring holding these buttons in, and as soon as you remove that, it's going to dislodge, and it's going to be kind of a bear to get back in. So I'm keeping those compressed so I don't have to worry about that as much. But let me go ahead and get this apart and I will show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so a couple of things here. There's going to be two little pads like this on the screws here. You want to make sure you get those with some tweezers. It looks like they were kind of glued in there. Just pull some out there with some tweezers there. You also want to make sure that your stylus has been removed and your SD card has been removed, because this is exposed to the board and this is just going to get in the way. Let me go ahead and take that out, as well as the battery. You want to make sure the battery is out as well. That should be all of them. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter which screws go in where. They're the exact same size. So unlike a lot of other consoles and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about that too much by taking off the back. But here, when we take this off, we just have to make sure to be super careful, because right around here is where those ribbon cables are. So while I do have replacements, I don't want to use any more than I need to. So let's get this off of here. Okay. Now, if you are doing the circle pad replacement, and I would say do yourself a favor and just disconnect these two. Like I said beforehand, I made the mistake in not doing that, and one got torn. So there it is right there. So it's super easy to put back in. I know a lot of people are like, just don't worry about it, but with as flimsy as these are, like it will definitely serve you better just to disconnect them and not have to worry about keeping this thing close or attached. All right, so the circle pad here is right here. It's being held in by this cable here. Now, you probably can get away with just taking these and then just flipping this over here. It is kind of a pain to get this reconnected because of how small it is, and it's also a locking cable. So you have to put it in and then put the flat down. Let me show you how that works. And then flip that over. Okay, so you're going to see a couple of things. There is an outside washer here that went on top of that, the Circle Pad Pro itself, and there's an inside washer as well. So the inside washer comes out. It's really easy to go out, but it's kind of hard to put in. But if you notice here, there's some indentions, slight indentions on one side of this thing. So what you want to do is you want to put it in this side first and then turn it so it goes all the way around and kind of just locks itself in. After that is in, then you put this washer in, and it comes apart a little bit at one end. It's kind of a bear to get in there, but just be patient with it and kind of just work it almost the same way you worked the circle pad in there. And then all you have to do is just flip it back over I'm just going to put this washer back on there just because I don't want it to. I don't want it to come loose as I'm trying to put it back in. Kind of like what it's doing now. Pop your analog stick back in. As long as the position is right, it should click in there. Okay, now that's back in. Let's go ahead and pop the screws back in there. Alright, and then once it's in, just pop it open and just make sure that it functions like it should. Like, you'll definitely know if it's not in there properly. Okay, next we're going to move on to switching out the L&R button ribbon cable. All right, now looking at these, they may seem similar at first, but they are pretty distinct. The one for the left bumper, which is going to be on your right side, is going to look like this. It's going to have like 2 layers to it. And then the one for your right button and bumper is going to look like this. It's going to have like a really long cord, which you can see how kind of it can be flimsy and it looks like it can snap with enough pressure. So definitely be careful with that. We still have our L&Rs taped. So let's go ahead and get the problem one out and get that switched out here. Notice here, there's that spring there. Now, this was not loaded properly or like held in. It would just come off. It's honestly like barely put together there. So be really careful when you do that. Definitely kind of tape that down somehow and make sure that it's not going to go anywhere while you do this. So with this, it's kind of weaved in a certain way. So you have this part that goes over, and then this part goes underneath, kind of like this, right? So then you want to, as it is right there, you want to go ahead and just pop that back in, kind of the same way that you had it before. And we want to go ahead and then screw these back in here. Personally, I think I got pretty lucky with how that placement was. That went way easier than I thought it was going to. So let's go ahead and screw that back in there. And if you want to test it out, just take the tape off and then just feel for the tactile buttons. If you hear that, it's making its noise like it should. Move this out of the way entirely. And then if you want to match it up with the working one, just kind of compare and contrast. There you go. All right. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to attach this back to the board, and we're going to get everything all buttoned up here. Okay, so now that we have this board back in place here, this contact here, and this contact here, those are where you want to place the buttons on. So this one's going to be relatively easy because it's already been bent. So we're going to worry about that later. We're going to get this one here in first. And since this is brand new, this hasn't really contoured to the configuration of this board or of the system yet. So be really careful with putting this back in where it belongs. All right. And there's no shame in using tweezers if you need to. I use tweezers a lot as well. But then it looks like we are set. Let's go ahead and pop this back in and get our screws in there. There you go. Let's get that SD card back in. And then plug the back in. Get those aforementioned screws back in. Alright, before I put those pads on, let's do the little moment of truth here. Alright. So we got functionality on the left, functionality on the right. Circle pad's working like it should. And looks like we are good to go. You guys have a good rest of your day. And next thing I'm going to be doing with this is going to be a full case swap.